Englewood, New Jersey, September 1942. The school was called St. Cecilia. On the first day of that September, a 29-year-old man walked into a high school gymnasium to meet his football team for the first time as their head coach. His name was Vince Lombardi. Across the country that same month, American men his age were shipping out. The draft had been running for 2 years. The newspapers were full of the Pacific, of North Africa, of men doing things that would be remembered. Lombardi had a wife, 2 young children, and a classroom full of teenagers to teach Latin, chemistry, and physics. The NFL did not know his name. It would not for 12 more years. What the war took from Vince Lombardi was not his life. It took something quieter and in some ways harder to recover from. It took his time, his prime. The years between 29 and 41 when a coach either makes his name or disappears into the footnotes of the sport. Most men do not recover from that kind of loss. Lombardi did not just recover. He built something from it that the NFL had never seen before. To understand what those years cost him, you have to understand what Lombardi was before the war began. He grew up in Brooklyn, the oldest of 5 children of an Italian immigrant butcher. He played football at Fordham University. He was 5 feet 9 inches, 175 pounds, with a ferocity that made opposing linemen hesitate. He was part of the line that newspapers called the 7 blocks of granite. He graduated magna cum laude in 1937. He studied law at night and worked at a finance company during the day. He was, by every available measure, a man building toward something. In 1939, he took an assistant coaching position at St. Cecilia High School, teaching Latin and physics for less than $1,000 a year. He did not do it because it was a stepping stone. He did it because football was the only thing that made the same sense to him that the priesthood had when he was 12. Then 1942 arrived. His head coach left for Fordham. Lombardi became St. Cecilia's head coach at 29 years old. The NFL was somewhere else entirely. For the next 5 years, while the world remade itself, Vince Lombardi coached high school football in New Jersey. He was not wasting time. He was doing what he always did, working without an audience, building something without a guarantee that anyone would notice. By 1943, St. Cecilia was named the best high school football team in the country. Lombardi's teams went on to win 32 consecutive games and 6 private school championships in New Jersey. The NFL still did not know his name. In 1947, he left St. Cecilia for Fordham University. In 1949, he left Fordham for the United States Military Academy at West Point under the legendary Colonel Red Blake. Blake ran his program the way a general ran a battalion. Execution over inspiration. Preparation over talent, the system above the individual. Lombardi absorbed every word of it. He stayed at West Point for 5 years. 5 more years of watching film until 2 in the morning, reducing every problem to its smallest component and solving it from the ground up. He was 41 years old when the New York Giants finally called. January 28, 1959, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packers held a press conference to introduce their new head coach. Vince Lombardi was 45 years old. His only head coaching experience at the professional level was exactly 0 games. The team he was inheriting had finished the previous season 1-10-1, the worst record in the NFL. They had not had a winning season in 11 years. The franchise was losing money at a rate that threatened its survival. 6 future Hall of Famers sat in that locker room playing for a team that had forgotten how to win. The reporters in the room did not know what to make of him. At his very first team meeting, Lombardi walked in and stood before men who had spent years losing. Men who had developed, as losing men always do, a private understanding that losing was simply what they did, that it was their nature. Lombardi looked at them. He said, "I have never been on a losing team, gentlemen, and I do not intend to start now." That was all. What happened next is the part the record books tell you. 5 NFL championships, 2 Super Bowls, a regular season record of 96 wins, 34 losses, and 6 ties, a postseason record of 9-1. 3 consecutive championships from 1965 to 1967, something no NFL team has accomplished since. What the record books do not tell you is where it came from. Quarterback Bart Starr arrived in Green Bay so uncertain of his own ability that he had nearly quit football entirely. Under Lombardi, he became the MVP of the first 2 Super Bowls. He said, "Coach Lombardi had an incredible gift for making you believe that what he demanded of you, you were actually capable of." God Jerry Kramer said, "He made you a believer in him, in the team, and most importantly, in yourself." That gift was not born in Green Bay. It was not born at West Point or at the New York Giants. It was built in a high school gymnasium in Englewood, New Jersey, in the years when no one outside that building had any reason to care what Vince Lombardi was doing. He arrived in Green Bay already complete, already forged. December 31st, 1967. Green Bay, Wisconsin, 13 degrees below zero at kickoff. The coldest NFL championship game ever played. The Dallas Cowboys had come to Lambeau Field to take the title that the Packers had held for 2 years. 16 seconds left. Packers down by 3. Ball on the 1-yard line. The frozen field had made footing impossible all afternoon. The Cowboys knew a run was coming and positioned to stop it. Lombardi called the quarterback sneak. Starr drove forward behind center Ken Bowman and guard Jerry Kramer. The hole opened for less than a second. Starr found it and fell into the end zone. Touchdown. Green Bay 21, Dallas 17. Lombardi was asked afterward why he called a running play on a frozen field with the championship at stake against a defense prepared for exactly that. He said, "Because I knew we could execute it better than they could stop it." That was not arrogance. That was 17 years of 3 a.m. film sessions in Englewood, West Point, and New York City, compressed into 4 seconds on a frozen field in Wisconsin. Vince Lombardi died on September 3, 1970. He was 57 years old. Colon cancer, diagnosed that summer, moved faster than anyone expected. He had coached the Green Bay Packers for 9 seasons. He had never had a losing season in the NFL, not once. The Super Bowl trophy was named after him, not for the trophies he won, for what he represented about how they were won. There is a footnote in every Lombardi biography that most people read past. It notes that he did not become an NFL head coach until he was 45, that he spent the years between 29 and 41 in a New Jersey high school and a military academy while the NFL existed somewhere else without him. History records it as a delay, a detour. But the men who played for him in Green Bay knew better. They understood that there was no before, that the 17 years in the rooms where no one was watching were not the prelude to the story. They were the story itself. And on a frozen field in Wisconsin on the last day of 1967, with 16 seconds left and everything at stake, Vince Lombardi called a play that required absolute certainty. He had been building that certainty since 1942 in a gymnasium in Englewood, New Jersey. While the world was somewhere else entirely, that is not a football story. That is the story of what a man becomes when time takes everything he planned for, and he refuses to stop building anyway. Subscribe. Every week we bring you the moments the cameras missed and the history books buried. Next, the night Jim Brown walked into the most segregated city in the NFL, and what he did in the first hour silenced an entire league.